Good morning and welcome to Warrior TV Coffee Morning. I am back with my co-host Kerry Duval and a very special guest to help us talk about Children's Mental Health Week. See you in a moment. Good morning, Kerry.
Morning.
The mini mental health warrior. Would you like to introduce him to us, Kerry?
Go on, Lucas. Hi. I'm
Hi,
Lucas.
Lucas.
You're Lucas, and what's your warrior title?
Mini mental health warrior.
And what am I?
The warrior queen.
There you go.
Awesome.
He introduced me for me.
Excellent. Fantastic. So the topic this week is children's mental health, which is, I believe, where it all starts, really, isn't it? It's such an important topic, such an important area.
Raising awareness with mental health with the children is obviously really important, because then when they start getting to that teenager years, and Lucas isn't far off those years now, they know how to deal with their mental health. They know that when they do start having those negative feelings more often than positive, to seek help, and if they can seek help quick enough, they can deal with it before it gets to those worse points, and that's what we don't want.
I think the key thing that you said there was actually teaching our young people how to deal with their mental health, how to look after their mental health. That to me is it's important for anybody to know how to look after their mental health, but starting at a very young age, because I mean, let's look at children. Basically, up until about the age of 7, they're like sponges, so they're taking everything from their entire environment. Whether it's our parents, whether it's our teachers, our friends' parents, the rest of our family, the way other people behave around us when we're out and about. Everything that's going on around us, we're taking that all in. And then, of course,
Don't play with the green screen.
And of course, we start to form our own beliefs and our own opinions and our own values. And this, of course, is where everything right from the very start is obviously so important. But whatever has happened, whatever we've experienced during those first few years, will also kind of dictate how we move forward from that. And everything is a learning process. Everything that we do helps us to grow. Everything that we experience helps us to grow. Everything that we experience has a profound effect on us as individuals. And of course, all of that is related to mental health. It affects our mental health. It's one of those things. I know I keep saying it, but I'm going to say it again and again and again until people, till everybody understands that we all have mental health. All of us have mental health. And mental health doesn't mean that we're poorly with it. We can be perfectly well with it, but we need to know how to look after it, just in the same way that we need to know how to look after our physical health. And starting with mental health is the best way. So,
well, one thing we have been talking about with Lucas, obviously, and Tegan, is obviously what mental health is. So go on, Lucas. What is mental health to you? The way
the way we
Speak up a little bit.
it's the way we feel, and there's two sides to it, positive and negative.
Mm-hmm.
And for positive, we feel happy, and negative, we feel sad.
Mm-hmm. And what happens if we feel negative too much?
We start to want to die.
Yeah, and we don't want that, do we?
No, we don't want it.
No. So what's the hashtag that we use? It's okay
To make mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of them. But it's okay not to be okay. That's what we tell you, isn't it?
It's okay not to be okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well done. Brilliant. It is okay not to be okay, purely because we're having a human experience, and we're going to be experiencing all of the different emotions and the different thoughts and the different feelings and what have you. So okay, so let me ask Lucas a question
Well,
here.
Lucas?
So when you're feeling a bit unhappy, Lucas, how do you change that so that you feel happy?
I like solving Rubik's cubes.
Yeah, I know you're a bit of a genius with those, aren't you?
He's even got his Rubik's Cube t-shirt on.
Fantastic. Oh, look at that. I like it. Brilliant.
Primark.
Yeah. So I know how much you enjoy playing with your Rubik's cubes, and that's kind of the best thing to do, isn't it? Is find something that you enjoy doing.
Cubing.
Do you want to go and get one?
Yeah,
Go and get one. It might stop him fidgeting with the mouse.
At least it's unplugged.
Yeah, I made sure to unplug it before we came live.
Bless him. But that's one of the key things, isn't it? Is finding something that we enjoy doing. So like having a hobby, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I like doing this. You know, I like coming on and speaking to people. I mean, out and about, I don't like people, but yeah, on Warriors, I love talking to people.
Yeah.
It's really weird. I can talk to people on the Warriors. I can open up and share my mental health stuff, you know, and talk about mental health all day long. But yeah, out and about, I don't tell anybody my story. I keep myself to myself.
But that's the thing, isn't it? It's knowing when it's appropriate to talk about it and when it's okay to talk about it. And it is okay to talk about it, no matter what age we are. It is absolutely, but it's finding your tribe, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's more to do with the Warriors is a safe space.
And
it's a safe space to me and to obviously many people.
Essentially, the mental health Warriors is your tribe.
Yeah.
You know, or at least it's a fair proportion of your tribe. You know, I'm sure that there are one or two others outside of the organisation that you have a chat to as well occasionally. But yeah, so it is very much about, you know, being able to talk, knowing that it's okay to talk about stuff when you're not feeling particularly happy, when you're feeling down low. And as I said, you know, for children, especially for young people, or for all of us, but especially for young people, it is about helping them find something that they enjoy doing.
What you got?
I got 6x6.
Hey, look at that!
It's blending in with the green screen.
Yeah, I can see that. Fantastic. That's brilliant. Yeah. So, but it's not just about.
I mean, you solve that.
It's not just about having a hobby, having something that you enjoy doing. It's about how we treat other people, isn't it? How we speak to other people, and being mindful of other people, and being mindful of the fact that we don't always know what's going on up here or behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And it is exactly the same with children, with young people. So I know that you, when I've chatted with you and Adam on various occasions, you've talked about wanting to get into schools to educate them about mental health, even to the point of offering a safe space for young people to come and talk to people about their issues, you know, things that make them unhappy. But I'm talking about like really unhappy. I'm not talking about, oh, you know, this is boring, I don't like doing this. It's, you know, perhaps some things are going on at home, some things are going on between you and your friends, you know, anything, absolutely anything. And when I say something going on at home, I'm not necessarily talking about parents or siblings or family members treating that young person badly. It could be, you know, somebody that they're close to is poorly at the moment or going through a tough time themselves. And don't not forget, you know, children will pick up on that vibe.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and obviously as parents, it's about recognising what's normal for your child. And then obviously if there is anything out of the ordinary that comes up, monitor it, because it could be sometimes that your child is starting to experience mental health problems but doesn't know how to come to you and talk to you about it. So if you can maybe sit down at a dinner table one night and just ask the question, are you okay? Is something bothering you? You know, to open that gate then to obviously communicate any problems that might be there. Maybe it is that maybe they're being bullied in school. Maybe they're not coping with the stress of exams coming up. It can be a various thing when they're teenagers. You know, maybe they're worried about the way they look. They don't look like another girl in school or another boy in school. I mean, we caught Lucas looking himself in the mirror, and it was a bit weird the way he was doing it. So we asked him, are you okay? Do you feel that you're okay? Right? And obviously it got to that point where we had to tell him, look, you are normal, and the way your body is, it's absolutely fine. And it's okay to have a little bit of fat on you, because that's healthy. Remember? Lucas?
Yeah.
Remember that conversation?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. In fact, you've just managed to answer my next question.
Go on.
You're absolutely right. It does start at home, and it is about creating that safe environment for the kids as well. Be able to open up and tell the parents, you know, what's actually going on. Now, I mean, I've already mentioned that you and Adam would like to get into the schools.
Yeah.
Because equally there are going to be children, young people out there who don't necessarily have that safe space at home to talk about how they're feeling, what they're thinking.
Yeah.
So it's equally as important to have that safe space at school, isn't it? Or have a safe space that's away from the home environment in order to do.
Yeah, and obviously through our understanding children's and young people's mental health courses, me and Adam have obviously both done them. We've learned that not every child has that safe space. And although there is a policy in place that schools have to create those safe spaces within schools, not every school actually has them.
Yeah.
So obviously at some schools, people are craving that safe space, but it's not actually there for them. And and if they don't feel like they can share the problems at home, they're having to bottle these feelings up, and that's not good, right?
No, it's not.
All young people need to have access to a safe space, whether it's at home, at school, or somewhere in the local community they can go and talk to somebody about the way they're feeling. Because otherwise, it sadly does get to that point where we lose teenagers.
Absolutely. You know, that safe space somewhere it could be another family member, you know, an aunt or an uncle or a cousin or a grandparent. It might even be a good friend's, a best friend's parents.
Yeah.
You know, we've got some questions in the comments. I think Adam's asking. He's saying that I mentioned. Excuse me. I mentioned that up to the age of 7, we're like sponges, so we're taking everything in. But do I not think that at any age we're sponges? Well, we kind of are, but we tend to choose to be.
Yeah.
Up until the age of 7, we're just basically we're developing, we're growing. We're always learning. We don't ever stop learning. But it's once we get to the age of 7 that we do start asking questions, and not just why. Excuse me. We start. We because we're at school at that point, and we're effectively in sort of like the 3rd year of primary school. So essentially, what we're doing is we're experiencing a different environment. We're encouraged to be more involved in a classroom discussion over certain things. So we are going to think of questions to ask, and we're going to be taking on a lot more from those people around us, and we start developing our own minds. I know that sounds a very strange thing, because we all have our own minds right from the start, but we develop that ability to start asking questions about certain things, and we start making up our own minds about certain things. Another question as well. Do we think education causes kids to develop mental health problems?
I think it can, because because in school, obviously they do focus a lot on examinations and making the school look good with high test results. They don't actually care about, well, to me, they don't care about the mental health of the youngsters, right? How do I say this? I
think they do. I think they do. I mean, I've got a couple of friends who are primary school teachers, and we have a few conversations occasionally about their job in particular, and they are there. They are concerned and mindful of the welfare of the young people, not just are they physically safe within the school, but there is a degree of looking out for their mental health. However, there's an awful lot of pressure on teachers. I mean, forget this entire situation at the moment that we've been in for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Even without that, there's a huge amount of pressure put on teachers to have their class, their year, achieve a certain percentage minimum. And it goes on the teacher's record. So it basically says, well, you weren't very good at teaching then if they come below that mark. So there's a lot of pressure on the teachers.
Yeah.
And in turn, that pressure, if you like, is passed on from the teachers, not necessarily consciously. They're not necessarily consciously aware of that, but that pressure is then transferred from the teachers onto the young people in the classrooms. Cool. And I mean, we've all been brought up in that society, haven't we? That to be successful in life, we've got to get good grades on our exams. You'll never get anywhere in life if you haven't got X number of whatever qualifications they are these days at GCS. Yeah. So it was O-level. It shows me age, doesn't it? So, as I say, I think it's there, but it's not. That the pressure is more on the teachers to get the results that they're being expected to achieve. So, of course, then they're attempting to get the young children to achieve those results as well, completely forgetting. Well, not completely forgetting, but sometimes it goes by the wayside. But the young people, like us, we're all very different. Each and every single one of us is unique, and Kerry, you and I could be in the same classroom learning the same topic, and neither of us will learn at the same speed.
Yeah, because obviously everyone still has their own learning styles. So when I was just starting high school, they pulled us all into the school hall and we did an assessment of what our learning styles was. So some people learn by reading, some people learn by doing something. So, and then other people learn by doing both. So they'll read a book, but then they'll be able to do it. I learned more by doing. Lucas learns by doing. He's very, very good at doing his Rubik's Cubes. I'm sure we'll let you have a turn with the Rubik's Cubes on live in a minute or so. Yeah. And that basically stuck with us all the way through. We had that note on practically everything of what learning style we had. But the teachers didn't know what to do with that because they were still dead set in the ways that they'd learn. And it was only just coming in when I left school. So, yeah.
Yes, it's what, like you, I learn more by doing.
Yeah.
Having somebody there to guide me through it whilst I'm doing it. I can listen to somebody talking about stuff. I can read about certain subjects, but unless that subject has a particular interest to me, I find it, and I've always found it quite difficult to grasp it, to really kind of remember much about it. And I could say that, one of my most favourite topics at school when I was a young child was history. I absolutely loved history, but it was great because during the primary school years, we were given little what's the word I'm looking for? Projects to do. So we were, let's say, for example, we were looking at various world explorers, and so we were given the option of choosing which explorer we wanted to do this project on, and then we were able to go away, as in back then it was go to the library and look at books and get all this information and then create a project on that particular explorer. Yeah. I remember even to this day that I did mine on Dr. David Livingstone, and I got brilliant marks for it, and I thoroughly enjoyed doing it. I
liked history as well.
Yeah, there are other aspects of history which I unfortunately had to study to do O-level, and I found it so boring that I didn't remember anything.
Yeah.
But of course, coming back to that situation, the classroom situation, it's very much a case of my history teacher in the last 2 years that I was at school took an instant dislike to me the second I walked into the classroom. I don't know what it was, because I was always very much one of those that sat towards the back of the room, and I was just head down and got on with it. I wasn't a chatterbox. I didn't disrupt the class or anything like that. And I picked up on that vibe quite quickly because of how she was responding to me and the things that she'd say to me. And it got to the point where I actually dreaded going in for my history lesson. But I couldn't tell anyone.
Yeah. I chose history for one of my GCSE options, and Wednesday afternoons was my favourite time of the week, because for those 2 hours I was sat on a table with a group of people that loved history just as much as me, and one of the girls that I sat across from on the table ended up being the highest achiever in the year of my year group. And I got the pleasure of spending 2 years on the same table as her and talking to her about the projects we had to go through over those 2 years was brilliant, because the knowledge that she was coming out with was amazing. And I think I'd like to say, she helped me. she helped me with my grade. We did about medicine, so we would have to go along and pick a certain period of the year. You know, it gave us like a year, a group of about 10 things to pick from, and we had to pick a certain era to go through on. And I chose Wild West. So obviously in the Wild West, it was more of, and I still remember all this, it was more of the men went to the wives or the mums or their aunties and uncles, grandmas, not uncles, aunties. You know, it was the men going to the women, you know, and they basically controlled all the medicines and how to do everything with all of the ways that had been handed down through the generations. And that's how medicine started.
Yeah.
Which I thought was brilliant. And the other thing I thought was brilliant that I picked up was in the Wild West, when a man divorced his wife, he moved out and she got everything. That made me laugh.
Brilliant. We've got some more comments here. Richard Fay. Hi, Richard. He's saying classroom wasn't for me. I would actually have done well if the classroom was audio visual, actually digital blackboards and laptops, things can be revolutionized. This is the thing. I mean, I can't personally speak about how, you know, the way teaching is put across, done in the classroom today, because I know it's like everything else, it's evolved so much since I was last at school. But there was always my own personal experiences from being at school. There was a set way, and each teacher brought themselves into it, which was great, you know, because we all do that. Whatever we're doing, we put ourselves into it as well. So it's always going to be a little bit different to the next person, you know, even if the next person is doing something similar. So I mean that's a great comment, Richard. Thank you. Which kind of leads me on to Adam's question, which was prior to Richard's comment, which is a question for you, Lucas. Dad wants to know, what are your views on schools and mental health?
Okay. Schools and mental health, mate.
What do you think about them?
School is good for like friends and use your mental health.
Can friends help your mental health, do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think friends can also affect your mental health badly?
Not really.
Okay, that's interesting. No, he's not had that negative friendship yet, which is good.
Yeah.
No. All his friendships at the moment are all positive. Well, that's good.
Excellent. Fantastic.
We're gonna have to let him show us a little bit about Rubik's cubes before the end of the show.
That's quite all right. I'm looking forward to seeing it, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the other thing as well, isn't it? With school, it's not necessarily the teachers that will affect a young person's mental health. It's very much about.
One thing I don't like about 4-4 is Kerry.
Do you want to restart that, mate? Because Kerry Burr was talking.
Okay.
Go on.
This is now basically like the 4-4. And I really like that because I really like doing 4-4. But the only thing I don't like about 4-4 is parity.
Is what?
Parity.
What's parity?
It's basically when you get a case which on a 3-3 is unsolvable, and you have a special algorithm just for that case.
Yeah. Do you want to show us what you're doing? He's trying to solve his 6x6. You can solve it.
Yeah. It's actually now pretty easy.
Yeah. And Dad's asked another question. Do you think schools need more mental health classes?
Yeah.
Why? Why do you think mental health needs to be more in schools? It's okay if you don't know.
Don't really know.
You don't really know. Well, that's fine. He's still learning.
Absolutely. I personally, and this might be quite a controversial view to some, but my personal opinion is that you know, and for anybody listening, please forgive me if I'm talking out of turn here. But I believe that there does need to be some changes within the whole educational system. You know, because whilst our young people are there to learn, they're there to learn certain topics. I get that completely. But, you know, more importantly, they're there to grow and develop into, you know, good human beings. And life is not all about getting top grades in every subject that you do. Life is not all about being the best at everything. Life is about being the best version of you that you can be. And as I said before, we are all different. We're all going to have different interests. We're all going to be really good at something, but it's not necessarily going to be the same as every other person, every other child in that classroom. We're not all going to be good at maths like I know Lucas is. We're not all going to be good at physics like I know Lucas is. You know, we're not all going to be good at English. We're not all going to be good at history. We're not all going to be good at geography. And that doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You know, people, here's an example, okay? Anybody out there that wants to be an engineer, okay? Physics is essential. Maths is essential. Now, to the rest of us, as long as we can do basic arithmetic, I don't think that it's absolutely imperative that we know exactly how to do all kinds of weird and wonderful equations that involve algebra and trigonometry and angles on that's impressive. That is. Look at that.
Is it nearly done?
Oh yes.
It's solved.
Hey, well done, Lucas. That's amazing. Well done. This is what I'm saying. You know, we don't all of us need to be good at everything. We just need to be good at what we are good at doing, and we are very good at being us. Yeah.
Well, that's not good, is it? Now he's put a green dot in the red zone.
I like it. Well done. Excellent. Brilliant. So, you know, it's as Sandy's just said here, it's important to learn a bit of every subject. You know, I'm not saying that it's not. That's the thing. It is important to have a degree of knowledge of these different subjects.
Yeah.
You know, to be a decent human being, to you know, to be able to solve a Rubik's Cube puzzle, we don't need to be good at English. We don't need to be good at geography or history. You know,
we've got them both solved. Ready for us.
Yeah. So essentially, what I'm trying to say is, you know, let's ease off a little bit. Let's embrace the uniqueness of every single young child out there, and acknowledge the fact that some are going to be absolutely brilliant in some subjects and not great in others. And, you know, that's how we all are. And let's focus on those good things. I mean, if a child's really lagging behind in an essential area like basic maths and English, then yes, of course, that needs to be worked on. And so extra encouragement and extra help, if necessary, needs to be put into place. But putting this undue pressure, this unnecessary pressure on young people to get a minimum of X number of tests. Oh, for goodness sake, why are we testing children at school? Why?
Kerry Burr's in rant mode.
No, seriously, that is in my view, that's undue pressure. I get it. You've got to it tells the teacher how well they're doing, at what level they're actually at. I get that. But let's give it another name, shall we? Let's not call it a test. Let's not say you've got the pass mark is whatever percent or whatever out of 10. And let's not embarrass those young people that don't do quite so well as others in that class.
Yeah, because that's one thing that really bugged me was on our GCSE results day, the teachers approached the girl that achieved the highest grade in the year and told her basically that she'd got A stars, and they only did it just for her, and they ignored everybody else. We'll get to Rubik's Cubes in a minute, mate.
Yeah.
And that really bugged me, because then we all went off into our little groups of friends and we'd say like, oh, well, the teachers approached her and told her, well, that's not fair. That's a bit of favoritism.
Yeah.
And now, I don't know what her friendship circles have changed now, because I don't actually speak to her anymore. We've lost touch over the years.
Yeah.
As people do, they move around in their own circles. But I can imagine that, I don't know, some people might have turned on her because of what the teachers did.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say for certain, because obviously I don't speak to her.
No, I mean, what I don't want is for people to think that, our discussion about this as far as teachers are concerned within the school environment, I don't want people to think that we're having a pop at the teachers, because we're absolutely not. They are there.
Some teachers are absolutely amazing.
Absolutely. They are there doing a job that they're following a vocation in life. They're doing what they have chosen to do, just as I'm doing what I've chosen to do. And I mean, let's face it, we're all in the business of educating, aren't we? All of us, every single one of us. Some get paid to do it all day, every day. Others don't get paid to do it. Others like yourself, a mum.
Yeah.
You're a mum. You're an educator as far as your children are concerned.
Yeah, there's a Facebook user. It's not coming up a name. I loved patterns in maths and chemistry. Formulas were fun. Writing and layout remains awful. Problem prevention is easy. Socialising remains a challenge. I know further up. It's what? It's Joe Farmer. All right, okay. Yeah, because it's coming up Facebook user here. Yeah. You might want to start putting your name, Joe, so we know it's you. Because further up, she said, well done, Lucas. I can move centres of 3x3s around and confuses many.
Did it.
There we go. Hey, excellent.
Go on. There you go.
Well done, Lucas. That's amazing. That's amazing.
He's a little genius with Rubik's Cube.
And I can also do this.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Are we going on to Rubik's Cubes now, are we?
Oh, well done, Lucas. That's brilliant.
Even though he's got a show planned just for him and his Rubik's Cubes, a whole hour dedicated to just you, he wants to show them now.
Well, I don't blame you. Show off your achievements. That's fabulous.
Go on then.
More people should be doing that.
I've ever solved is a 6x6. I either did it with multiple centres.
Oh yeah.
Let's remove that. There you go, 6.
Oh my life. You have a genius for a son.
I don't know why.
You have to turn that around a little bit. This is called a pyramix, and he can solve that one too.
Yeah. Awesome.
I couldn't even manage one of them growing up.
No, me neither.
Let alone one of them.
Yeah.
My parents had given me one of them, and I'd been like, "What do you want me to do with that?"
Yeah.
You ever gave me like if I got to 10 by 7, I would
That's the next
scramble it
one.
up
Yeah.
and sit in my room and then back at
Adam has actually Adam's
or I
actually,
don't know how to solve one.
Adam's put here that tests and exams put pressure on kids and is a massive trigger towards causing mental health issues in the long term. He's absolutely right. Absolutely right. You know, it's I can't stress it enough. You know, it's not. I'm not blaming the teachers here, not by a long shot. As I say, they are choosing to do their vocation in life, but they are trained to do that job in a certain way. You know, so this is why I'm saying it's the system that needs to change, and it doesn't have to be a huge change. It's just, you know, Ofsted's been mentioned here as well, and those results are there for Ofsted to see how the teachers are doing, how the schools are doing. So the schools themselves get graded, you know, and it's all the pressure is on the teachers.
Yeah.
What Ofsted are not taken into consideration is the actual ability of the individual child that's learning. Because as I said before, and I know I sound like I'm ranting, and I guess in a way I am, because I do feel very passionately about this. You know, we're not all the same. We're not all going to learn at the same rate. We're not all going to be interested in the same subjects. We're likely to do better in the subjects that we are interested in than in those that we're not.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. It does not matter.
Yeah. I mean,
some young people are, you know, like Lucas here, photographic memory. Read it once and it's remembered. Other kids.
Yeah, but that only works for certain subjects. And if he's interested in the subject, he can read all the information he wants and he'll absorb it. Like like solving Rubik's cubes. At one point he had 6 of these and he couldn't solve them. But then he watched a couple of videos and he could instantly solve all 6 of them. Yeah. And now he's got 3x3s, 2x2s, 4x4, 5x5, and now a 6x6. And then these Pyramix things. Oh, and these Mega Mix.
I'm gonna get.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you know, and he picks his Lego up and he makes his own cubes now. He can make them out of Lego. I mean, he did once have a Lego Rubik's cube, but he broke it. That's one of the downsides of autism.
Here's another example here. Richard is saying that he's got a city in guilds in adult numeracy and literacy with distinction 1, 2 and 3, scoring 14 out of 15 in every section, even though he never learned half of the maths at school. And this is what I'm saying. We all learn at a different pace. And it's... You know, when I was at school, I wasn't really interested in science. I wasn't really that interested in biology, human biology. So I never really paid an awful lot of attention. I mean, I did in the class, but, you know, I wouldn't remember stuff that I was taught in that classroom. And so when it came to picking the subjects that I wanted to pursue to do at O-level, today it's GCSE level, I did not choose anything to do with any of the sciences because I just wasn't interested. Later in life, doing what I do now, coaching, it's all about the mind. It's all about the human mind and how that works.
Yeah.
I became really, and I've always had that curiosity. So now I've kind of delved in deeper and gone into it at a cellular level. So now I've got a basic understanding as to how the brain actually operates.
Yeah.
With the neural pathways, the synapses and everything like that, you know. So, you know, I've got a better understanding about that now because I'm interested in it. Whereas back then I wasn't interested in it. And because I wasn't interested in it, I didn't really take an awful lot in. And it kind of follows with what you were saying as well. You know, things that you were interested in, you took in, you absorbed that information. And as you said with Lucas just now, because of his interest in certain things, i.e. the Rubik's Cubes, all he's got to do is look at a video, read a book, listen to what somebody's saying, and instantly it's remembered. And he can go away and do it himself. perfectly.
Yeah. I mean, thing is with Lucas, obviously he can do that. One of the options I did in school was forensic science.
Mm.
You know, and the first week of forensic science, we got given our books, and we had a lesson to read our books. But then the day after, we basically got led down into the school hall, and we basically got told, right, there's a crime scene, and in your groups of 3, you've got to solve the crime, and we had an hour to solve it. And then basically he assessed us from then, said, right, this is what we need to teach you. This is how we're going to teach you. And we worked it through.
But again, this is something else, that there are, certainly in high schools, secondary schools, there are a lot more subjects available for young people to study. You know, for me, for my generation, when we were at school, there wasn't that many subjects at all. And in fact, a lot of subjects that were suddenly became open to us weren't open to us until we were in the 4th year of secondary school. So at that point, we were then studying and working towards our exams.
Yeah.
Excuse
no,
me. So,
when I was doing forensic science, oh, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, again, it's not so much the subjects that are available to the young people necessarily. It's the pressure that are put on the teachers and the school as a whole. And in turn, that pressure is passed on to the young people. And this is why, you know, getting into secondary school, this is why the push is there, and they're feeling it from their homes as well. Not all of them, but a lot of them are under a lot of pressure to do really well at school. You know, because parents did exceptionally well at school, and so it's expected that the kids do well at school. They do well in their exams. That might not follow. That might not be the case. Not every person, not every young person is academically brilliant. And that doesn't matter. They might be sports, it might be physical stuff, actual doing stuff, so working with wood or metal or music, art, anything like that. They might be more practical than they are at the theory stuff. So, and this is where I believe the system as a whole falls down. It's all based on figures, percentages.
Yes.
How well is that school doing? What's the pass rate to that school? Oh, they're doing really well, but they're not looking at the kids, the young people's mental health. How much pressure, how much stress have those young people actually gone through to achieve those results? And did they really, really want to achieve them in the first place? Or were they not that particularly bothered about it?
No, well, going back, see, with the forensic science that I did, at the end of it, we got put into those groups of 3 again, and it had to be the same group of 3 that we'd started the year in. And we had to solve the crime, but obviously it was a different crime. And we passed that bit. Right? We did it. We had an hour and a half to solve it in the test side of it. We had an hour and a half, so we got like a little bit longer to do it. But we had to talk through everything we were doing, what theories we were doing, what methods we were using, blah, 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 and everything like that. But we passed that side of it. But when I got put in front of the test paper to then obviously write it all down and put it all in word form, I failed that part of it, which obviously made me come out with a D. I'd passed the actual physical part of it, but I was rubbish at the writing bit. And that was my downfall.
Yeah. And that's my point exactly. That we're each of us going to have certain things that we're really, really good at doing. And we're also each of us going to have certain things that we're really not that great at doing. And that is absolutely okay. And that's why I keep saying the system needs to change. Ofsted needs to stop and look at what's happening with young people. Look at the pressure, the stress that it's causing. Look at, I hate to say this, but it's an actual fact. Look at how many teenage suicides there have been over the years. They're going up. all because of the pressures that are put on them at school.
Yeah.
You know,
and obviously with all this COVID thing, it's not helped.
Well, that's it. You know, I mean, okay, I know that there are some instances where bullying has been an issue, you know, and that in itself is another area where schools do need to be aware and do need to do something. And I know that for the most part they do. But we're getting into a slightly different area here, and I know I'm aware of the time, and we haven't got much time to sort of discuss this, but it's you know, but bullying, I know we've talked about bullying before, but bullying at school is quite, it always has been. And, you know, sometimes as the kids get older, you know, they set about the other kids, and they're quite clever because they'll do it outside of school hours. And of course, when it's done outside of school hours, then there's not a great deal that the school themselves can actually do about it. They can keep an eye on things within school time, and deal with anything that might happen during that time. Other than that, anything that happens outside of school hours, outside of the school premises, is not their jurisdiction, because they're only responsible for our kids until a certain time, until those children leave to go home. So it's, I mean, fascinating area, isn't it? And I think we need to come back and have another continue.
We'll have to do a whole episode on the education system.
Yeah, we do. I think we do need to chat further about this, as I say.
Yeah, Richard Fade's put forensic science is scary, but it's not an exact science.
No.
Well, from what I fathomed out in my GCSE test, physical exam, you know, I can look at a crime scene and work out who killed the person. Obviously, we were given 5 suspects, and we had to obviously build the case against one of those subjects, you know. And we picked the right one. We got it right, because the answer was in an envelope that the teacher had all the way through, and that was sealed envelope at the start, and he opened it in front of us at the end, and we got it right. You know, so based on that, I know how to get away with murder. But
Adam, behave yourself.
Yeah, Adam needs to behave himself.
Yeah.
You know, but that's one thing that I took an interest in. It came up in the middle of year 9, and I thought, you know what, that sounds fun. So I chose forensic science, and like I said, I passed the physical side of it, but I was rubbish at the written side of it, and that was my downfall. I'm not good with exams and writing things down.
Well, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay. You know,
that's one of my flaws. But you know what? I don't care.
But is it a flaw?
To me, it is, because doing my college at the moment, my college tutor keeps coming back and saying, "Kerry, check your grammar, check your spelling." I'm shocking at spelling. It's always been a flaw of mine, but I don't care anymore. It used to bother me. It doesn't anymore.
Well, no, exactly. I mean, you know, most things these days are actually done on a computer, and the computer's there's always a spell check and a grammar checker available to use. So, you know, most people do it that way anyway. But it's, I mean, on the one hand, I suppose if you were writing something and you write a particular word and it's completely unrecognizable as to what kind of word it's supposed to be, then I can understand the tutor coming back to you and say, "Can you please check your spelling?" But for a tutor to say that to an adult, when the main topic here is the topic itself, and it's not about what you're writing. Well, it is about what you're writing down. It's not about how you're spelling certain things.
Yeah.
How your grammar.
No, it's like she's more interested in my spelling and grammar and turning it into an English course. It's not an English course.
It's not. It's absolutely. It's not.
No, I wouldn't do English at college.
What you're doing is essentially answering questions in a topic that you are passionate about. So you're showing your knowledge, knowledge and your experience, and that's what counts. At the end of the day, if your tutor, you know, is noticing stuff that's spelt wrongly, I mean, as long as he or she is able to read it and understand what you've put, That's what's important.
Yeah. I've had it numerous times. Check my grammar, check my spelling. It's like, oh, go away.
I would be turning around to them and saying, look, I've never been great at grammar. I've never been great at spelling. It's always been a difficult area for me. But I would actually say to them, what I'm interested in, though, is the content.
My mental health. Because obviously it is a mental health course.
Yeah.
I've already done quite a few mental health courses, actually. And never once have I been told about my grammar or my spelling. I probably made numerous mistakes in all that with my spelling and grammar, but my last tutors didn't care as long as I'd got the information that they needed.
Yeah.
But this tutor only seems to care about the spelling and the grammar. And yeah. But I'm doing well. I've already passed 2 units on it. So
good. Excellent. And that's what's important to
I had to resubmit one of them, but oh well.
Isn't it? But that's what's important to you.
Yeah.
And that's I do strongly believe that is how we should be looking at things, how we have to look at things is what is important to the individual.
I'm doing it.
What's important to Lucas right now?
Lucas, what's important to you?
Just solving this. Oh, I actually kind of...
He's very nearly solved his Megamix. Go on, see if you can solve it in the 3 and a bit minutes we've got left.
So that's what's important to Lucas right now, yeah? Solving his Megamix.
So what's important to you away from Rubik's Cubes? Put this down for a moment.
I'm solving it.
What's important to you away from your Rubik's Cubes? Do you want me to rephrase the question for you?
He's focusing. He's concentrating. Look at that.
There you go.
Wow.
Right.
So like this.
Right.
Wow.
Put these down a moment. Yeah. So away from Rubik's Cubes, what else do you love?
What are the things that are important to you, Lucas?
Technology.
Technology was that?
Yeah, technology. Come forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else is important to you other than technology? Is it mum and dad? Is it Tegan? Is it Kiara? Lucas? No. That's the thing with kids and autism.
Yeah, bless him. Right, we are going to have to.
Yeah. He's bringing Kiara to come and say hello.
Oh, bless. Hello. Hello. Right. Yeah, we're going to end it there because we're kind of running out of time, but I think we'll have to come back and do a part 2 on this in perhaps a couple of weeks or whatever. So we'll get that sorted out. Lucas, thank you so much for joining us this morning and wowing us all with your amazing talent with those Rubik's Cubes and Mega Mixes and pyramids, whatever they are. That's brilliant. Absolutely.
Pyramids.
That's it, Pyramix.
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed being on the show this morning, Lucas?
Yes.
Cool. Excellent. Would you like to come back again sometime?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to tell the viewers who's coming on tomorrow?
My sister's coming on tomorrow.
Yeah. Who's Tegan on with?
And she's
Come
on
tell the viewers.
Steve Knapp.
Yep. Tegan is on with Steve Knapp tomorrow at 8 in the morning.
Hey, excellent. That'll be really cool.
Yeah?
Guys,
Do you want to tell the viewers to tune in tomorrow?
So tune in.
absolutely. What Lucas said. Yes, that's wicked. That's wicked.
A ton of lies.
He's too clever.
We will be back with coffee morning. I say we. I think it is we, isn't it? Or is it just you, Kerry? I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
No, neither am I. But anyway,
Adam's just informed me it's you and Adam next week.
Oh, of course it is. Yes, we're going to be talking about relationships, aren't we? So,
yes, it's Valentine's Day next week.
Uh-oh.
Woohoo.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Right, we're
He's never
going.
behaved himself for that one.
Thanks for putting up with us.
See you later.
We will see you all. Have a good week.
Say bye, Lucas.
Bye.